Hi, welcome to this session. It's wonderful to be on this conference together with you. If you've watched the first session where I shared just a teensy little bit, a few snippets about myself, you will start to get a flavor of who I am and what I do. So this bite-sized session is called Building Work and Building Tools. Yes, we've been eating dust for the last nearly 3 weeks now. You know, when I was approached to speak for you ladies, I said, yeah, sure, I'll talk every day. Just give me a slot and I'm fine. Let's just get on with it. There's plenty to talk about ADHD tools and all that. And then what happened was the builder called me up and said he can start earlier, way earlier than we had agreed. And he was meant to start in the middle of May, which was about, at the time, 8 weeks off. And he said, can I start ASAP? So I said, sure. You know, when your builder called you up and asks to start earlier, you don't just say no for, right? So I said, sure. And then I said, help. Well, he started. And I'm going to share with you some photos and also some tools. So part one is going to be about just some snippets about how I am keeping myself grounded and focused with my ADHD. And part two will be about how I'm keeping my kids focused and grounded with their ADHD. So let me share my screen now. Okay, so this is how my kitchen currently looks like. We had a wall in between our kitchen and like a little side room. We took down the wall, you can see those beams there. And we, of course, had to rip out the whole kitchen, which was over 20 years old. And we're doing lots of structural changes. And we're also doing more changes in the other rooms. So let me stop share, hold on. Right, so, you know, life is like a zip. Let me show you what I mean. You know, you start off with a plan and you've got, let's see, this is my favorite hoodie, okay, nice and warm and cozy. You start off with a plan and you start with a plan and you do your actions and one step leads to another and opens up more vistas before you and more and more. Now, what many of us ADHDers tend to do is the zip is closed like this, and we want the whole zip to be open in one shot. We want to know exactly what we're doing, how we're going to get there, and reach A to Z in one leap. Well, I'm sorry, Dave, but that's not life. Sorry, such is not life. And we put on ourselves far too much pressure to get from A to Z in one go. So when we started building, all we wanted was for this room to be made bigger, you know, the one that I showed you, and we wanted to cut through the front and back room to make some doors to make it more open plan, and that's about it. So we had started to open the zip like that, right? Then you saw in the picture, let me show you again, hold on. You can see there's a boiler on that back wall. So we had the boiler moved around to in that other room, which is a laundry room. And that came afterwards. I just thought of the idea on the spot and we asked the builder for a price. Then a few other things we thought of as we started to do the work, you know, so it's like the zip is closed and you start to open up more and more and more. And every time I thought, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. And I told my husband, I'm a bit daft. The builder thinks we're crazy because we keep on adding more and more main job. And then I spoke to a few friends and they said, no, that's normal when it comes to building. And then what happened was when they broke through the front and back room, they said that they would plaster the wall that they broke through, the wall that was left. Well, guess what happened? The other wall started crumbling. So they knocked through to the brick. And then I thought to myself, well, if they're doing the front and back room plastering properly, maybe we do the hallway. And they did that. And guess what? They thought they could skim, but they can't skim because the plaster's falling off. The house is 120 years old and it's never been replastered, looks like. And then I thought, well, if they're going to do the replastering, they should do new doors. Well, that was already in the press, but just they should put a new radiator, of course. And then I know that the banister is really loose. But it's the original banister. So, can you please maybe do that as well? And then maybe we should do the banister up to the loft as well, because they are the same. We're adding on. Okay, we thought it would be a 3-week job. It's going to be a 6-week job. So I thought we would just camp out in the front room for a while. And then when the kitchen arrives, move into the kitchen. So we emptied the kitchen. Took us 3 hours between 3 people. A few family members disappeared when they were needed, so there were 3 left. And we had to lug all the bags up to the loft. And we moved the basics into the front room. So that was fine for a few days. Then the builder says, well, I'm going to need you to move everything right by the window to the far end, because when we knock through, it'll make a bit of dust. Then I thought I was just getting into a routine, feeling a bit settled, and then we had to unsettle ourselves. Then about 3 days later, they told us that we need to move everything into the other room because they have to work on that room where we were in. And they arrived at 10 to 8 in the morning and said, you should have moved yesterday. Well, no one told me. So imagine the panic of having to do all that when you're trying to get the kids ready for school as well. Oh, and I didn't tell you we had to move out from a different room. Okay, that's for a different story. Okay, so imagine the panic of, okay, 8 o'clock they arrive and I have to get the kids ready and we have to move everything out to the back room. So I asked them, can you please give me an hour and then I will get myself together. How did I stay calm? My teenage daughter said, Mom, why aren't you shouting? How are we staying so calm? And then when they moved us to the back room, I realized, Faggy, this is ridiculous. I think you have to move upstairs. So we have in our loft a nice big playroom, and we moved everything upstairs. It took me about 3 days to get myself together properly up there, but I've told the kids now we'll be there for about 4 weeks. Rather say too long than too little. 4 weeks, I think, will be just about right. So the front door is open, dust flying all over the place, music blaring, the house is freezing. I feel totally disoriented from the minute they come till the minute they go, which is 10 to 8 till 6. I'm like floating around, oh, what's going on? So how am I staying focused? I'm going to share 2 ideas with you, only 2. Powerful ones that you can take with you to your day-to-day life. Back to this hoodie. Okay, so I only wear hoodies that have zips in. Okay, so when I go shopping and I look for a hoodie, ones that have no zips stay on the shelf. Okay, if you have ADHD like me, you're bound to have a working memory deficit, which means that you forget things, you put things down, and you don't know where you put them. I know that I'm in a bad state when I've put something down and I can't remember where I put it. It happens, thank God, lately, not so often. Because, no, I'm not superhuman. I hold on tight to the tools that I teach my clients. So picture in your mind someone, me, that has just fallen off a cliff. And they're holding on to the very edge, to the ledge, and their legs are dangling. That is me. Okay, I live my life constantly feeling like I've fallen off the cliff. And what is stopping me from not falling down to the abyss is my tools. Okay. So when there's a crisis, even when there's a good crisis, like building, it's good. It'll be lovely afterwards. But now it's a bit of a crisis. It's a bit of stress. And I hold on to those tools for dear life. I come first. My sanity comes first. And I have a poor working memory. I forget things. So I have hoodies with zips. Okay. So how am I surviving currently? I'll tell you how. Here's my car keys. Okay. They cost £400. If they're lost, I'm gone. Credit card. Phone. Yes, I have the basic Nokia phone. Imagine that. I run all my business from my desktop. More of that another time. Oh, what else is here? Tissues. I don't really need them the whole day. Okay, so that's going to go out and stay out. Notepad. Pen that I've learned the hard way. You put it in your pocket. That way, so it won't leak and ruin your best jacket. And mask, of course. And no, that's something else. Right. Okay. So this is my portable office. Okay. Sometimes I have some cash, like a £10 note. Portable office. Okay. And I've got 2 pockets. Now I'm not that organized that I know where the things are, but usually in this pocket I have my mask and my pen and notepad. Okay. And in the other pocket I will have my phone, card, and keys. Okay, so what that means is wherever I'm in my house, when the dust is so thick and the radio's blaring and the front door is open and I've got a client in 2 minutes, I feel grounded. No, I don't feel the same grounded as I do on a regular day, and I don't expect myself to either. However, I feel grounded. And I feel like I can run my life in sort of skeleton fashion. Okay, I don't need to do everything the same level as before, but I can live my life as best as I can. So if you want to help your ADHD child, if you want to help yourself, you focus on you first. You focus on tools to help you ground you. Let me share a story with you. So we're busy with the kitchen, right? Now, it's so funny how I'm a home organizer and I can't get myself organized. You know, I've been called in by clients to help them plan their kitchens. No problem, darling. When it comes to my own, oh my gosh, forget it. Can't do it. Really hard. So I've got this company who's helping me. They're good. Okay. Good service, etc. But something about the plan didn't sit right with me, and I didn't know what it was. So I didn't tell them to finalize and order the cupboards yet. I thought, something's not right. I listened to my inner voice. Okay. How many of us drown out the inner voice and listen to what other people say and let that override our needs? That's an ADHD trait, by the way. So I listened to my inner voice. And then I had 2 quotes for the floor for downstairs. And one quote I liked. Okay. And I asked the office, do you have a number of someone who you've done locally or whatever that I can call up and ask about your work? So they gave me a number, and this person lived not too far away. And she was so nice. She offered for me to come in and look at her floor. So I did. And I go in her kitchen. I was like standing by the back door just to see, you know, I didn't actually go in. And I said, oh my gosh, those cupboards are amazing. The color was stunning. The pale blue, like she called it fjord green. I said, where'd you get those cupboards from? And she goes, oh, she's an interior designer, just like as a hobby. And she's happy to come to my house to give me some tips before I put the kitchen in. I thought, wow, amazing. Right. Next day, I call her up and I say, can you come? And she goes, yeah, I can come at 2 o'clock. And then she calls me up and says, oh, sorry, her husband has the car, she can't come. I said, well, I'll come and fetch you now, darling. It's 1:30. I'll just come and fetch you, no problem. And it was fine. So I was upstairs in my loft, and what I had to do was walk down the stairs and walk out to the car because I had my little portable office already. Okay. And I fetched her and she came in and it was fine. And the fellow was there doing the electrics for the kitchen from the old plan, right? He was there on that day, last Thursday. And this woman's a genius. She is an absolute genius. She looked at those plans. And in half an hour, she had tweaked things so subtly that she had given me about a third more counter space, if not half more counter space on one side. She told me to turn the island 90 degrees and to add more cupboards in a certain place. And oh my gosh, she was amazing. She was absolutely amazing. And while she was there, she spoke to the electrician and he understood what she meant and he made the wires longer just in case we changed our minds and all that stuff. And I thought, imagine if I wasn't be so organized and so grounded. I would have missed this opportunity and I would have lived with years and years of regret. And she also helped me with counters and told me to get what I was going to get more expensive, to get a cheaper one and to get the doors that cost more rather than to get the color that I like. Yeah. Right. So she was really helpful. So how many of us lose so many life opportunities because we, number one, make excuses, and number two, we're just not focused on grounding ourselves. How many of us spent an hour till we leave the house? All I did was, everything was in my pocket and off I went. So how can you take this idea into your life? Focus on you and ground yourself. Let me share with you one more idea. Okay, I posted this on my Facebook group, Creative Women in Business. I asked them, what's going on here? So there were lots of comments and guesses. I'll tell you what's going on here, okay? When we had to move from the front room to the back room because they had to plaster, and we had such short notice, I was in such a faff and tizzy. I just dumped lots of boxes out in the garden and I plonked them in my car, okay, because I couldn't organize, couldn't think. And you can see that there's weights there. So I think in my Facebook group, I asked, what's the connection between the weights and those boxes? The boxes show just cereals and cooking ingredients, whatever. So I'll tell you what the answer is. You know, when more stress comes in your life, whatever that stress may be, you have to counteract the stress with more self-care. Scales, okay, think of scales. When one side tips, the other has to go and tip as well to balance it out. So every morning now, I am making the point to get up a little bit earlier and drive 5 minutes to a local countryside area. And I take my earphones with me and I do 20 minutes of walking and I move my arms with those weights. And I don't have a formal exercise program and I'm not trying to get it perfect. And it doesn't matter if sometimes it's for 5 minutes. All that doesn't matter. But what matters is that I get up, I look after myself, and I give myself a dopamine hit every morning before I start to look after the kids. Because there's something that I've realized with myself, and my clients have told me the same. When I get up at the same time as my kids, because I think I'm doing myself a favor because I want to sleep, right? Let me stop sharing. Because I want to sleep, guess what happens? Everything unravels because it takes me time to wake up in the morning and I'm shouting at the kids and I can't focus. And why are they misbehaving so much suddenly? And it just goes haywire because I need to wake up and I need to give my brain a boost so that I can focus. Even with the meds, okay, the exercise is so necessary. And I listen to inspiring music and sometimes I cry in the morning when I'm out. Sometimes I laugh. Sometimes I feel inspired. I make sure to get those feelings out. And I come home and I feel fresh. It doesn't matter if some days it's only a couple of minutes and some days it's longer, because the main thing is I've done it. How many of us fall into the trap of perfectionism? We want it perfect. Well, you can want it perfect and perfect, but don't expect it to be perfect. So if you want your ADHD child to succeed, if you're a mom, and if you're not a mom, if you want you to succeed, stop thinking about what others are thinking. Start to focus on you. Start to ground yourself and start to help yourself. I've learned these lessons the mighty, painfully hard way. And thank God I'm still here to tell the tale. So let's talk about how to help your child succeed in the next session. Till then, if you have any questions, send me a Facebook message, send me an email, faggy@focuswithfaggy.com. Look at my YouTube channel, my books over here, or buy them on Amazon. Clear, focused, to the point information about ADHD, how to part with clutter, and how to get yourself organized the ADHD way. Lovely talking to you, and we'll meet again.